To thread the machine, first we're going to wind the bobbin. To wind the bobbin, we need to retrieve a bobbin. So we're going to slide off the removable storage compartment and open this door to access the bobbin area. Place your finger behind the latch, pull the latch toward you, and then pull the bobbin holder out and tilt this to retrieve the bobbin. This is a Singer Class 15 metal bobbin. If you want to purchase additional bobbins for your machine, make sure that they're Singer Class 15 metal bobbins. Your thread spool goes on the spool pin, and there's one back here that conveniently tilts up, and you'll slide your spool onto the spool pin and then retrieve your spool cap from your accessories and slide that on to hold the spool in place. If you prefer to use a thread spool in the vertical position, among your included accessories is a spool pin felt and auxiliary spool pin. You can take the end of the spool pin and place it into the spool pin felt, and then place this end into this hole at the top of the machine, and then set your spool on top of that. In this case, you would not need to use your thread spool cap. Draw the thread from the thread spool, and holding it lightly with your right hand and the thread tail in your left hand, bring it into this first thread guide, and then bring it around the bobbin winding tension disc pull the thread so it fits snugly under the disc. Bring the thread toward the right and place the end of the thread from the center out through one of the holes of your bobbin, like so. Place your bobbin onto the bobbin winding spindle and push it down all the way as far as it will go, and then push it to the right like it shows with your arrow here. Continue holding the thread with your left hand, holding it up. Step on the foot control to begin winding the bobbin. Stop to trim the thread tail close to the bobbin. Then step on the foot control to resume winding. You can stop winding anytime when you have as much thread on your bobbin as you want, or you can continue winding. It will stop automatically when it's full. When the bobbin stops winding, you can take your foot off the foot control, push the bobbin to the left, and then lift it off the bobbin winding spindle and cut the thread. Place your wound bobbin into the bobbin holder. When you lay it in the bobbin holder, check it, make sure that the bobbin is turning clockwise. If it's turning counterclockwise, that's not correct. You need to make sure that it's turning clockwise. It's very important. Then bring the thread into this small notch on the side of the bobbin holder, and then slide it under this metal tab between these two small arms on the metal tab. You want to make sure you feel it and hear it click in between those two small arms. Hold your bobbin by the latch and bring it back to the machine with this finger pointing straight up. Push it into the holder and release the latch. Now let's thread the top of the machine. The first thing you need to do is raise the presser foot lifter, it's very important, and turn the hand wheel toward you to raise the needle to its highest position and make sure that the take-up lever is visible. Place your thread spool on the spool pin with the spool cap to hold it in place. But if you've just wound a bobbin, it probably looks something like this. So we're going to remove the thread from the bobbin winding tension disc. And now hold the thread in your right hand with the loose end of the thread in your left hand and bring it first into this thread guide then down around this U-turn at the bottom, up to the right-hand side of the take-up lever, bring it to the left, and pull forward so that the thread goes into the eye of the take-up lever. Bring the thread down into this thread guide just above the needle, right here. Bring it in from the right toward the left to tuck it behind that guide. This is your built-in needle threader, which helps you thread the eye of the needle. Hold this lever as you bring the thread around this first guide, and then continue pushing the threader down and then back until these prongs fit around the needle. And place your thread into the mechanism like so. And as you lightly hold the thread in your right hand, pull forward and release the threader in your left hand, and you'll see a small loop come out behind the eye of the needle, like that. Grab the loop and pull the rest of your thread through. Now lightly hold the thread in your left hand as you turn the hand wheel toward you to lower the needle and then raise it again, continuing to lightly pull the thread in your left hand, and this will bring a loop up from the bottom. This is your bobbin thread. Pull the thread through and then place both threads under the presser foot and out to the back. Close the cover, and now we're ready to test our stitch to make sure we threaded properly. When we turned the machine on, it went automatically to straight stitch, so we're ready to go. So place your fabric underneath the presser foot and lower the presser foot and step on the foot control to start sewing. Raise the presser foot, remove your fabric, cut the thread in the thread cutter at the side of the machine. There's our stitch. Looks really good on top, and it looks good on the back, so we know that we threaded the machine correctly. When you sew, if it looks nice on the top side, but on the back side it looks loopy or bunchy or lots of thread loops, that's actually an indication that you threaded the top of the machine incorrectly. So remove the thread from the top of the machine, make sure your presser foot lifter was up when you start, and rethread the machine. So this is your needle plate, and your needle plate has markings on it with these lines that are various seam allowance guidelines that you can use. There are references to metric, and there are fractions of an inch as well, and I'm going to use this one right here, which is the 5/8 inch guideline. Many commercial sewing patterns use a 5/8 inch seam allowance, so I'll use that one to demonstrate. So that means I'm going to line up the edge of my fabrics and keep it level with that 5/8 inch seam guideline as I sew. Lower the presser foot lifter onto your fabric, and when you step on the foot control, sew just a few stitches. Now press and hold the reverse button to sew in reverse a few stitches. Release the reverse button and then step on the foot control again to sew your seam. As you sew, make sure you keep the edge of your fabric lined up with that seam guideline that you've selected. When you come to the end of the fabric, press and hold the reverse button for just a few stitches, and then step on the foot control again to sew forward. Raise the presser foot lifter, and remove your work from the machine. If you choose to cut your thread tails with scissors instead of with the thread cutter at the side of the machine, make sure that you leave the thread tails long enough so that your needle doesn't come unthreaded when you start to sew again. And there's our seam. We have reverse stitches at the beginning and reverse stitches at the end, and that means that as we continue working on our project, our stitches won't unravel. For more information, a full instruction manual is available on the Singer website to view or download anytime.